welcome to National Citizen News and Media. Today we have Mr. Stephen Suss, Chairperson of CSPRM, with us. Welcome, Mr. Suss. It's good to have you joining us.
Thank you very much, Jason. It's always good to speak to you. I know that you have our fight, our war. You are actually supporting us, and you have an interest in that. But thank you very much for having me today.
It's a pleasure, sir. As we know, Civil Servants Pension Redress Movement is a registered NPO functioning across South Africa and Namibia with branches in each of the provinces and districts of Namibia respectively. On 21 November 2024, CSPRM held their National Elective Conference in Klerksdorp, Northwest, where Mr. Suss delivered a riveting speech in an effort to bolster and galvanize belief within the ranks of CSPRM leadership. Mr. Suss, tell us about the conference. What are some of the highlights?
The first highlight, Jason, was the fact that we had a full house. All 9 provinces were represented and Namibia. The second highlight was the extraordinary work done by the local organizing committee of the Northwest Province. I mean, it was really a joyous occasion, a hard-working group of people gathering, very resilient and also up to the task. The third highlight was the realization of the fact that CSPRM is poised to play a far greater role than what its members may realize. The success of the CSPRM is inextricably linked to those of other structures taking place at the same time, other structures with their struggles. Sometimes we, as a senior group, we were divided, isolated, and working in silos. And we realized that, we must come together. We are part of a broader South African community. And I always say that the pension redress story was actually experienced by all people in South Africa. Not only the 3 groups, blacks, coloreds, and Indians, but also white women. So the discrimination and the discriminatory laws in the pension fund, which was the cause of small pension payouts and the suffering that is taking place now, all those things, we must come together as the broader South African public. The CSPRM could add the example of its sound organizational approach, structures, and discipline. Those are some of the highlights. If I must name the highlights, we will be busy up until tomorrow morning. But those are only some of them.
I am glad you had such a good reception, Mr. Suss. Who makes up the new elected National Committee? Can you share with us some information regarding some of their qualifications and achievements?
Okay. When we got to the conference, there were already 10 people in the National Executive Committee. Those are the 9 provincial chairs of all the provinces in South Africa, plus the chair of Namibia. So we were already 10. The election took place for a national chairperson, national vice chairperson, a national treasurer, and a national assistant treasurer. Myself was elected as the national treasurer of CSPRM. Mr. Paul Fisher, and I'm from Queenstown in the Eastern Cape. Mr. Paul Fisher from Walfish Bay in Namibia is the vice chairperson nationally. And Mr. Dan Tsipani, he is from the Orange Free State, Mangaung in the Orange or the Free State. Mr. Dan Tsipani is the national treasurer, and Ms. Pumzile Bekwa, she's the national vice treasurer. Those are the leadership of the CSPRM for the next 3 years.
Hmm. Based on the information we have, CSPRM handed over a memorandum to the Speaker of the National Assembly at the beginning of 2024. What were the outcomes of this engagement with the Speaker?
Okay. It happened on the 15th of July with the opening of Parliament, and there three people of the committee named as the SATBVC committee handed over the memorandum. It was again myself, Mr. Desmond Bartman, also from the CSPRM, and Mr. Tobile Ndabambi from Transkei. He is actually the chairperson of that committee. Now, it was a grueling day. It was cold and wet and windy in Cape Town, but we persisted, and eventually, through God's grace, we had the chance to hand over that memorandum. We'll give you a copy of that memorandum. We heard nothing for a week or two, and then we received recognition that they received, and they would give attention to it. It never happened, and we, as you've mentioned, we became frustrated, wrote another letter, and eventually contacted General Bantu Holomisa. You shall remember that General Bantu Holomisa was the leader of the Transkei before 1994. And because Transkei and Ciskei and those TBVC states are linked, because they were the states that took independence from South Africa, Mr. Bantu Holomisa, he raised the question in Parliament in 2023 about our queries in connection with pension redress, pension calculations, and payouts for military veterans. A year later, 2024, nothing have happened. And in that 2023 SONA, the state president, Mr. Cyril Ramaphosa, gave the Minister of Finance, Ino Godongwana, the task to establish a task team so that we could get together and talk about this. A year later, nothing happened. Mr. Mamenta again posed the question in 2024, and there he find out the following, that the presentations that the government departments did now in 2024 were presentations from the government departments in structures were contradicting each other. There's different government departments like finance, public administration, police, and all those things. And their presentations contradicted one another. Public service and administration report have been have not been endorsed. The thing that they offered us were not endorsed. Instead, more information must be submitted for the next sitting. Okay, they even ask us to come up with more presentations. Nothing, we heard nothing again, and we wrote a letter. We got frustrated and we wrote a letter again. The letter was from Mr. Tobile Ndabambi to Mr. M. Zibeko. I've just, his name is Mr. Masikole Sibeko. He is the Committee Secretary, PC on Public Service and Administration. So when we wrote the last letter, they told us that they are trying to get public administration and finance together, but they are battling with it. So that frustrates us, and they prolong the thing. We ask them to really urgently come back to us. We actually said, you must treat this as urgent because we are old and we are dying.
Very true, sir. It saddens me that you guys are getting such terrible feedback. Considering
Yeah.
outcomes of the year 2024, What are the objectives CSPRM hopes to achieve in the year 2025?
Yeah. In my address to Congress, we mentioned, what we did in 2023, what we did in 2024, and what our vision is for 2025. Now, remember, if I say that in our constitution we have a vision, mission, objectives, and so on, and I talk about 2023 or even go back to 2019, then it's a repeat of what we did. And the reason why, remember, the frustration is not only us with the department or with the government. The frustration is also our members with us, because people expecting tomorrow that something positive will happen, and it does not. But it is because we're working with an intransigent government and government departments, people that think only about themselves and not thinking about the older people. I mean, we're fighting for people who work from 1961 to 1998. And those and who were really training the employment crop of today, now they must suffer while these younger people are, earning millions and millions in a short period. So 2025 will be the same as 2024, but we decided to be more aggressive, to be, to the person, to really set up structures to march to Parliament in Cape Town, into the GEP offices all over the country. We really want to take this as the South African public to the government. And that's why I say we're not going to work as older people in a silo, isolated, divided. We are going to call on public service unions, private service unions. We're going to talk to the youth. We're going to talk to the women. We're going to talk to every other structure in South Africa. And I know they will be sympathetic to us as your grouping is there, and so many other people who actually garner towards us and attracted the attention of what we are doing. We are really pleased for radio, for TV, for the print media that supports us as they do. So really, this is going to be, and of course, we have got our lawyers waiting in the wings, our lawyers and advocates who is supporting us and who will represent us pro bono.
That that is great to hear, Mr. Sass. I mean, the aggressive approach seems the only way these days. Upon
It is, yeah.
It is very true. Upon analyzing the correspondence from various sources, we have found that there are an enormous amount of frustrations cropping up. What are some of the biggest headaches that CSPRM is experiencing when engaging with government departments?
Yeah. As I've mentioned just a few minutes ago, there is a huge frustration with government departments because they don't respect us. They don't appreciate what older people did for the country. They are excluding us in a big way. Remember, our theme of our conference was the power of inclusion versus exclusion. And it is the present government that started the redress program, but it is the present government through resolution number 7 of 1998 PSCBC that excluded more than 400,000 people, out of the program. And that's why, if we and this is the message that went out in Congress, sometimes we are asking for something, but we are involved, but we are not committed. And we ask ourselves not to exclude ourselves. Because if we exclude ourselves, we cannot ask people to include us. And therefore, we are on this rampant, survey to look at all groupings in South Africa, political parties. It doesn't matter who you are. You were touched by this because even the parliamentarians, some of them were civil servants and, suffered under the same discrimination, or their parents or their grandparents. And that's why we feel that we must really reach out to them. We had a guest speaker by the name of Wiseman Hamilton, and he, came up with something because he was present in the PSCBC when this agreement was signed on the 2nd of September 1998. And really, there's a mass democratic movement again coming up, as you will, as journalists will know. So that is the frustration. They are excluding us. They are ignoring us. They are postponing meetings and cancel meetings at will. And that frustrates us. The other thing is our members are getting frustrated with us. We at present are still the professionals and the dignified people. We organized ourselves and we do our thing according to the book. But people want us to change. And that is why we are planning all these things that we are going to do the next year. But it will be forceful. We won't. We are law-abiding citizens. We are old. We won't, go against the laws and whatever regulations of the country. We'll do that. But it will be forceful. We must be heard.
Mm. No, that's good, Mr. Sass. You were the elders, you were the guys who paved the way for us as the youth for today, so it's only fair that you are also looked after.
Yeah. No, thank you very much, as I say, for your support and always I'm telling the group and the movement that Carlo will always reach out to us. What's next? What are your plans? What happened there, and so on. And it, we were like professionals, but also blue collar workers working for the government, and those people are suffering. They are in queues now at SASSA offices, and that's not good enough, for a government that purports to care about the people, being the leader of society and things like that. I mean, you cannot just throw around words and phrases like that, but you do the opposite.
Yes, Mr. Sass, thank you so much for sharing with us. We appreciate that you are always willing to engage and share your insight regarding CSPRM. Congratulations.
Thank you very yeah, thank you very much, and a pleasant day for you, and good news for the future.
You too, Mr. Sass. Congratulations on conducting a successful election, and we hope to engage with you in the future.
We are ready for that, and we appreciate the platform that you offer to us.
Not a problem. It's a pleasure, sir. Thank you to the viewers for tuning in. Have a blessed day. Until next time.